There are already hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even millions that would love to buy what you love to sell if they only knew that you existed. This is a quote from Myron Golden, who charges $40,000 for 1 hour of coaching and $350,000 to spend 8 hours with him. He is a black man and he's a business coach. And he's been blowing up over the past couple years as someone who is respected, speaks his mind, all based on biblical principles that he has based his life on. And this quote really resonated with me. It was from an interview that he was doing with Omar from Think Media, so definitely go check it out. But just the fact that there are so many people who would love to buy and to work with us if only they knew that we existed. That's really powerful because he's essentially saying that, hey, if you want to make money in this world, if you have a business, if you want to be successful, you need to be known. So many people think that markets are saturated, but the truth is that no markets are saturated. Look at Liquid. Is it called Liquid Death? I hate that branding. It sounds pretty like evil to me, right? But they just broke into the water company. You know how long we've had water companies? You know how long water has been around? But Liquid Death was able to build a brand, and they found an audience of people who would love to buy water, the same water that all these other companies produce, the same water, but different packaging. So if someone can start a water company in the 2020s, I don't know when it started, right? But in 2024, it's super popular. If someone can start a water company and it do exceedingly well, that's all the proof that you need to know that saturation is a myth. Because there is so much abundance out there. And if people knew you existed, they would love to work with you or buy your products. And that is why building a brand, a personal brand, achieving brand authority mastery, having BAM, having impact, right? That is the ultimate key to success. And that's why Myron can charge $40,000 for 1 hour of his time. That sounds ridiculous. Spending $40,000 just to talk to a person for an hour, but that's his price. And that's his price because he's built up a trustworthy brand with proof that his methods work. And because his methods work, people are willing to pay him those types of numbers. And at the end of the day, he said that he doesn't even like coaching. So if he's gonna take time away from hanging out with his granddaughter, it's gonna cost. But that's all because he's built a brand and has leverage. So here's another quote that I took from this interview, right? And this is all to say that I only watched this interview because of his brand. Building a brand is the highest form of leverage that you can have today. Because you can start a water company in 2024 and become a top supplier, a top brand of water, which has been around forever. Like you would think, hey, that's a super saturated niche industry to go into. Super competitive. There's all types of water, but no. It's all about having your unique mechanism, your unique approach, your unique fundamentals, right? Your unique beliefs. That's what's going to be what separates you so that you can create your own lane. But here's a quote, right? So the people who need it the most seem to want it the least, and the people who want it the most need it the least. And this is in reference to coaching, business coaching, right? The people who actually need your help don't understand that they need your help. The people who actually don't need your help want it the most because they know that just getting one good nugget from you can change their entire life, right? So he said that the people at 5K a month have a becoming problem, right? Which means that they have limiting beliefs about themselves. They think that being successful, maybe it's not in their cards. You know, they're stuck in the 9-to-5 mindset of thinking that, hey, making 5K a month, oh, if I can make 6K a month, 7K a month, that's amazing for them, right? They can't see beyond that. So they have to get into personal development. They have a becoming problem because in order to get from 5K a month, let's say even 10K a month and beyond, you have to change. You cannot be the same person. You have to elevate. You have to become the person who is worthy of receiving that type of income, right? So he says the people at 5K have a becoming problem, but the person that's stuck at 50,000, 100,000, 250,000 has an awareness problem. But when you show them something that they aren't aware of, the floodgates open. So that's essentially saying that someone who's making 50,000 or 100,000 a month, obviously that person is better off than the 5,000 a month person, and they really don't need the help, right? But they understand how knowledge and knowingness, right? Just knowing one additional thing can unlock the floodgates and help them 10x their business, right? But that 5K a month person has a becoming problem, which means that, you know, they definitely need it the most because we always want to help the little guys. We always want to help the people at the bottom, but those people don't even believe that they can do it. So we can't help them. So like even in my coaching business, I always want to help the little people, right? But they are the hardest to deal with because they don't do all the work that's necessary. They have a mindset problem. They're still stuck in their head. And as a coach, there's only so much I can do. The people who see the most success that I work with are people who already had momentum. They're like, cool, let me just plug and play. Let me just copy and paste this method into my business, and then they just take off, right? So that's a very interesting take because it's so true. And the reason why I'm even talking about this, like this video has no real flow to it, it's because Myron Golden is charging $40,000 for 1 hour of his coaching. And he's able to do that because of his brand. And right now I'm resonating with him because of his messaging, because of his brand. This is all him, right? So me reading this, I'm like, wow, I might need to have this guy as a coach one day because he understands, and the way he's speaking, it makes sense to me, right? Here's another quote that really resonated with me. God put Adam in the garden where consumption creates production, right? So think about it like this. Like I said earlier about saturation, I always fall into the mindset thinking that something is saturated, right? I need to pivot, have my own lane, do something new. But at the end of the day, there's an endless amount of abundance, right? An endless amount of abundance, but we have to consume, right? So learning from other people, consuming content, going into these saturated niches, right? That's our form of consumption, right? But through consumption, you actually end up creating more abundance, right? So in the garden, for example, let's take an apple, right? In order to get to the seed in the apple, you have to consume the apple, right? And then once you get to the seed, that one seed, right, can plant many different trees and many different apples. But we could not have gotten to that seed if we didn't first consume. But then he follows up with saying, any fool can count the seeds in an apple, but only God can count the apples in a seed. So we may think that, things are saturated, that they're competitive, but that's limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves, because only God knows the truth, right? That's why someone like Liquid Death can go into a super saturated and competitive market like water and still succeed, because only God knows how fruitful things really are. So all this is to say that you need to make yourself more findable, because there is abundance out there for you. You just have to put yourself in a position to, get that abundance and to get that energy and to get those blessings. And the best way to do that is by building a brand and putting yourself out there. Because if Myron Golden never put himself out there, he couldn't charge $40,000 a month. I mean, $40,000 for 1 hour. 40,000 a month is great too, right? But 40,000 for an hour of just talking with him, he wouldn't be able to charge that if people didn't know who he was, right? But he's not known just for being known. He's known because he speaks about the things that he believes in. He speaks about his unique view, right? That's why that's why I talked about what I got from the podcast, because that's him resonating with me. And imagine all the other people that he resonated with. So with branding and content, it's not a one-to-one, it's one to many. You make one piece of content, you resonate with thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of people. So let's work on those brands. Hit the subscribe button. I'll have more videos like this every week. Peace.